The equity piece is something that you might not hear today, but this is so important for me in my coaching style as well. I think when we get into the space of you're an expert, like here we have a doctor in the room, it's very easy to be in a power dynamic of like, I'm the expert and you are not the expert. And not a lot of learning happens in that environment. The perfect example is school, right? It's like, that's a perfect example of how just teaching and talking at an audience where there's a different power dynamic can really block opportunities for us to grow. So that equity piece is so important, and conversations like this creates equity in the conversation. Lastly, it's engaging. So I'm the type of person that eavesdrops a lot. Like I'll go to a restaurant and I'll just listen. I'll spend the entire time like listening to the conversation next to me rather than like in my own conversation. Like I'm that curious about people. And it makes me want to jump in, it makes me want to dive in. And I try to create that same effect in my podcast, right? You're like eavesdropping in on the conversation. Sometimes you're even audibly jumping in while you're listening. And that makes you carry on the same dialogue with your friends, right? So I think a lot of podcast hosts are so concerned about shares and they're concerned about, you know, the engagement. But for me, it would warm my heart so much more to know that because someone listened to my podcast, they had a conversation with their friends that they wouldn't otherwise have. And that's the impact that I'm really looking to have. And I might not be able to track that, but that's the why behind what I do. So that engagement piece is not in the traditional sense, but more in the sense of like actually connecting with people in our community in real life. Why does this matter to me? Well, I'm a money mindset coach. I talk about money. That's triggering for most people. Right? It's triggering for millionaires, it's triggering for billionaires, it's triggering for broke people. It's tough. And in order to get people to tell you like, hey, this happened to me when I was 5 years old, or like, I never started that thing again after this teacher didn't show up for me, that's a vulnerable share. So this format allows for a safe space for people to be vulnerable, especially for folks who are talking about heavy things, you know? Just yesterday, I met this amazing woman whose husband is here at the conference, and he has a podcast about men's mental health, right? And he's talking to guys about depression and suicide. That's heavy, right? So it's like being able to hold a safe space so that you can be a vessel for this important information to get out there is so, so important. So this is why this matters so much to me. So I'm going to tell you the 3 things that these types of conversations have to have. The first is active listening. So this is a term that is pretty common in like the behavioral psychology space, but I was reading coactive coaching and they really redefined listening for me as multiple levels. So the quick summary of it is that when we're listening, typically we have like you're talking and then I talk and then you say something and then I say something, and that's like most of our conversations. But when you're deeply actively listening, you're not just listening to what I'm saying, you're listening to what I'm not saying, the energy behind what I'm saying, the pauses, you're noticing body language, you're noticing all of the things, and intuitive things that you might not even have language for. So we're listening to the entire being that's in front of you. And this is so key because that person is going to feel you really being there in that space with them, right? They're gonna feel the fact that you're tapped into their energy and that you're here and present with them. So, my second question for y'all is, how do you